Hey guys, DibtheAwesome here to give you another Monster Legends guides. We're talking about monsters' moves, their rune set, partners, all that jazz. Today we are talking about Wildcat, the new monster of the 72-hour event challenge. I'm sorry this guide is just getting out on the day. I would have done this guide way earlier, but I've been having mouse problems lately, and I can't use my good computer without a good, the mouse and stuff like that. And I've been having mouse problems, so I haven't been able to make good guides. I could have used just my common computer, but the audio is just so bad on that. It's just so terrible. It's just the end. It's just terrible. But now, anyways, I'm back. I'm gonna do a whole bunch of guides and stuff and all that jazz. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. Let's get started. So Wildcat stats are 3,465. Exceptional power. Very good. Very standard. It's basically the power we all want our attackers to be at. This is the gospel stat. This is the stat that's well rounded. It's just an acceptable stat in competitive play. It's the accepted stat. Is it the best stat? No. Is it the acceptable stat? Yes. Oh yeah. It's very acceptable. Its life is 33,477. This is a good life. This is a tanky life. Obviously, this would be worded down by dark attackers themselves. But if it's not a dark attacker, you're solid. They won't be able to do too much to you. His speed is 3,113. This is one of the reasons why people don't like this monster all that much. For being a 72-hour event monster, it's slow. This thing is godly slow. As slow as Oros? No. It's just not fast enough to just do basic stuff. There's a chance that you could get double turned. But if you have the right setup, you might not even get double turned because this thing actually hits like hard as a rock. And I'm not making that joke because it's an earth monster. I'm saying he hits really hard in terms of single target damage. He hits really hard. He hurts. He'll knock your lights out for sure. If it isn't done with you on the first hit, he'll kill you on the second hit. His damage is nothing to spit at. Is the base damage as high as other monsters in the game? Well, in terms of most of it, yeah, he's pretty heavy hitting. So yeah, those are his base stats. His trade is hardened, which is really good. This guy, in all honesty, Wildcat got a good stat score on the board. And a good trade. It's better than immunity to daze and immunity to magnetize. I don't know why they didn't give Terrorizer and Ishiro Trident. I don't know why they gave him immunity to daze and immunity to magnetize. It doesn't make any sense. Well, maybe with Terrorizer because he's a robot, but yeah, with Terrorizer, I have no idea. Totally have no idea why that was a thing, but it is. But yeah, Wildcat had a very good luck with that. With most monsters in the game, it all comes down to the stat and the trait sometimes. And this guy landed great in both of those categories. The moves do matter too at times. It depends on the situation though. But even if you were to check moves off, he has really great moves too. His ultimate, I Am Wildcat, deals very heavy earth damage to all enemies, drains 25% of the attacker's maximum life. This could be a typo. I will say that right now. This could be a typo. I watched Armor Gaming's video. He's a really good Monster Legends YouTuber. He made up the comment that this could actually do percent damage to the enemy, not the attacker. It could be worded wrong. And it's not the first time they have worded something wrong. There are several monsters that have wrong worded moves. Fire Quinn's ult is wrong worded. It's the Nexor. Nexor's ult's not worded right. The thing with Ringer says it does very low damage, but his AoE does 70 damage. It's just a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's worded wrong in this game. And it could very well possibly mean that this actually does 25% to everybody. If it does that, I will say if it does that, this is a great ult. It's a very unique ult. And that's what we kind of go for 72-hour event monsters. We go for these last monsters because they're unique or do something very cool. And if it does do it like that, this is a very unique thing. I'll say that's very unique. It takes percent damage. So if you just miss killing somebody by just a few percent, and they only have 25% or less, you just killed them. You've literally just done that. If you have high enough strength runes, even if they're tanky, they just live by an edge. They're not gonna live by an edge because you also do 25% of their health. So that's really good. But if it does, in all honesty though, if it does do what everybody thinks it does, if it actually does 25% to Wild Hog, then not Wild Hog, Wildcat, I will say this: only ever use this move if you know you're gonna win. If you know you're not gonna die from this move, use it then. If you know you're just gonna kill the enemy just in one foul sweep, do this move. That's the time. You gotta use this move at the right time then. That's the only time you use this ultimate, is at the right time. It is honestly, if it does do that too, it's not the best ult. It's actually one of the worst ults then if it is self-harming, and it doesn't make any sense why. It's pretty much it's no different than self-destructing, pretty much. At least it doesn't kill you. I would say that at least it doesn't fully kill you. If it does work like that, I will say that that's a nice thing about it. Uh, Wild whatever deals very heavy. Well, deals heavy special damage. Returns 25% of the target. Damage received back to the target. Requires cooldown. He's pretty much got a damage return move. He's pretty in all equivocal sense. This guy is like a Tomb's pet. His kid's very similar to that. Atum's pet has the better, offensive stats and trait. But in terms of moves, though, Wildcat wins. He has another special damage moves, and that's actually very helpful in terms of competitive play. That actually helps him. Not in the sense of a Tomb's setup, and like this different setup, like a Tomb's, damage return is actually earth damage, and that actually hurts it. But with Wildcat, it's special damage, and that's really helpful. Wild Strike. This is honestly his best move. I love this move. It's a 65 damage, 0 turn cooldown move with 28 stamina. This is great for an attacker. It's exceptional. It's great. I'm sorry if you hear barking in the background. It's just my dog. But yeah, Wild Strike. This deals very acceptable damage. It's really nice. It's really good. Do run this move. It's very important that you do. This can knock anyone's lights out that isn't an Earth monster. If you use this move on a non-Earth monster, you're gonna do a lot of damage. It's gonna be very great damage. Wild Rage deals moderate earth damage to all enemies, requires cooldown. These are your basic AoE. You can run this move, you don't have to run it, but most cases people will run it because AoE damage is pretty important in competitive play. It just gets rid of the extra monster, that epic and all that jazz. It just does that job. Wild Avalanche. This deals heavy special damage, gains 30% shield, requires cooldown. You do need to run this move. This is another move. You have to run at least both of these special moves. It's just good again. You have to use these against the Earth monster. This is his damage against Earth monsters. You do need to bring these moves, and they're really good moves. This is a shield. It's pretty much a shield. If you put a life rune on this does more. Obviously, but yeah, you can put this move. You should probably put this moves on it. It'll protect you from damage, and it's a good against Earth monsters. Wild Assault. This is a single target stun move at 65 damage, 31 stamina, 2 turns cooldown. Basically this, but like a stun, and it costs more stamina. and with stun and cooldown and all that jazz. This is an option. I will say between these two, like between Wild Rage and Wild Assault, this is your two discussion. You can toss out. I guess you can switch in Wild Strike for Wild Assault. I wouldn't really though, because this is spammable. It's spammable. It's good against Chimeran enemies. It's just relative to have on you. You can just spam. In all honesty, if it's a 0 turn cooldown move, spammable damage is way better than sometimes it's way better than single target. The damage with a cooldown, because you don't know if you'll be able to hit it. You won't know if you'll be able to kill it with the first shot. That's just the situation. Sometimes that is truly the situation. Sometimes you can't burst something down with the first hit with something with a 2 turn or 1 turn cooldown. You do want a spammable move. I will say that spammable moves are very valuable in this game. And he has got a really nice spammable one. I think people would really like this thing too if this Wild Strike was special damage. If this was special damage, people would really love this thing. But it's not. Wild Wrath. This is his cruddy Daze AoE. You can put this on a tank set. I will say that you can make this you can make a tank set and you can use this move. Dazing, dazing. Even though people say dazing is kind of garbage, it actually, in terms of tanking, it's relatively nice. They don't do as much damage. You do lose damage. They don't do anything. They don't do much of anything. It pairs well with Totem. I will say Totem is a great partner for Wildcat. It's just a really fun. I would say he'd be really great with Wildcat. But yeah, here is the moveset I'd recommend you guys running. I would recommend you run Wild Strike. I'll recommend you run Wild Whatever, Wild Avalanche, and either Wild Rage or Wild Assault. It's totally up to you. It's totally up to your situation. What do you want more? Do you want AoE damage, or do you want the stun? In Team Wars, like the stun's people like running a restrained move, and that's totally fine. And then, with the AoE damage, in all honesty, it's totally. Do you want to be able to stun the Atum, or do you want to just do damage to everybody? It's totally up to you at that point, on how you want to play it. I'm gonna tell you guys Armor's build real quick. It's Wild Whatever, Wild Strike, Wild Avalanche, and Wild Assault. He brings up Wild Assault because it's stunning and immobilizing. It's just in case of the situation you do need to stun something, and that's totally fine. That's totally acceptable. Mine's really no different. It's, I gave you the choice between the two. It's honestly no different because that's honestly his best set. He's the only one. Honestly, in all honesty, he runs two options, and you can totally run either or options. It's totally fine. It's totally up to you on how you want your Wildcat to be. Do you want him to be solely physical damage? If so, that's totally fine. His single target damage is the best thing about him. He hits really hard, and I like that. I really like that. He's really unique in that sense. Or do you want to run, are you sick of the 45 damage, or you can do the 45 damage AoE, you can do that, that's totally fine too. It's just another move that you can't really use against Earth Monster. I mean, like, that move is, you can't really use Wild Rage against, the enemy, in terms of enemy Earth Monsters. You can use it on everything else. If you use it on, if you use it on anything else, they'll most likely die, especially if your runes are high, and that's totally acceptable. Yeah, what else? Partners. So yeah, totem. I said totem because if you use totem in a fight, just rake up the the damage and stuff like that. At some point, you can knock out the Earth monster with the same element type. Other monsters will include things that stamina drain or have really good control. If you have really good control with Wildcat, you're pretty solid. In all honesty, you're solid because all he needs to do is be able to do his his moves and stuff like that, and they hit relatively hard. I will say for a rune set build, you do want all strength runes. Just go full strength. This guy does damage, and he does it really well, so emphasize on that. Do capitalize on his very great strength. You can do a life and 2 strengths. You're gonna be a little more bulky, and you're gonna be bulky, especially if you have like a level 9 life rune. You're gonna be really bulky. You're gonna be really sturdy. The other 2 strength runes, you're sacrificing some damage for more sustainability, and that's totally fine. You don't know what's going to happen in Team Wars. Even when you suspect to win, yeah, that's sometimes not the case. Just watch any of my videos, and I usually don't win battles that I suspect to win, or just, win all 3 coins. Nothing really goes out as planned in Team Wars. So what's my overall opinion on Wildcat? Wildcat is great. I honestly like this guy. He's so much fun. Not just because he's one of my favorite YouTubers between the Vanus group, in the Vanus group, but he's a really interesting monster. I do like it. Is he pretty much like, is he any different than any other Earth monster? No, he's not. Is he better than any Earth monster? He's better than some of them, but not all of them. There are quite a few Earth monsters that are just way better than him, or just do more things. There's like a Tomb. A Tomb has AoE shields. Atlas, he's got like single target special damage. In terms of like single target, he's got like a single target stun, which is probably more valuable than the Earth damage stun. He's got, yeah, Atlas has got a little more bulkier. Atlas is bulkier. I will say that. I think Atlas was bulkier, and he might have more power too. So Atlas is more than likely better. I think he went. I think not Roadhog. Wildcat wins with the trait though. Atom's. I don't think Atom's pet really. Osteoclast is better. Osteoclast is so much better than this thing. Just in terms of like, he's got a special damage stun. He's got 2 actually. He's got a spammable one. And he's got, his very, he can give double damage. He can give shield. He can give himself a shield. That's an extra turn. There are a lot of monsters that are better than this thing, and that can be really said about any other monsters in any other category. There's just a lot of options. But you can run this guy. This guy's runnable, and this guy's fun. You can run any monster. If you really love a monster, you should totally run it. You should just form a good team. All it needs is a good team comp. You can pretty much run any attacker as long as your team comp is good. Then you're solid. Will I go for this for the 72-hour event? Yes, it's a very good monster. I'll try it. It's the spirit of things. I really like this. I really like this guy. I'll try for it. Yeah. Should you go for it? Depends on what you want. If you don't, in all honesty, if you don't like Wildcat, you can just go for Annihilator R2 cells in the event. I do say that in like the video of like who you should get for the December 72-hour event. You can totally do that. That's totally, you should totally do that. Our Annihilator R2 is pretty great. So yeah, that's pretty much my overall thoughts. I will say it before I go though, before I end this video, his baby, I will say his baby form and his egg form is really funny. Look at this, he looks like an old guy. He's so elderly. Here we see him with brass knuckles, and here he has elderly knuckles. It's just really funny. It's just painfully funny. His egg, I will say he's got the best egg design. Like, just look at the egg design. It's just really silly and funny. The snout's really well designed. I mean, like, just it looks really silly, and that's really great. It's just amazingly great. So yeah, that's everything about Wildcat. If you got any more questions about Wildcat, or you just feel like you need more encouragement to get it, or you just want more of a justification of actually why you should get it, go ahead and say it in the comments below. Tell me your concerns, and I'll answer them. Everyone has different opinions. It's totally cool. It's totally all right. Let me know what you guys think of Wildcat. Do you think he's garbage? Do you think he's really great? It's totally fine. It's totally fine what you think. It's totally fine what you say. Everybody has the right to their own opinions, and that's totally cool. I'm DibtheAwesome. I'll catch you guys later.